So can we be done at 7:30?
Yeah, yeah, right. That's right, right. 7 o'clock.
Pledge allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let the roll call show everybody's present. We do have a quorum. Can I have a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll make the motion to approve.
Been moved by Councilwoman Hardkey to approve the agenda. Have a second.
Second.
Second by Councilman Weaver. Any discussion? None being, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, the same. Any communication from citizens, or we got anybody online?
Nope. Oh, got one, sorry. No request to say anything.
Okay, none. Can I have a motion to go on executive session for personnel issues?
Make the motion. To go on executive session for personnel issues.
I'll second it.
Been moved by Councilman Weaver, second by Councilwoman Hardkey to go into executive session for personnel issues. Any further discussion? None being, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, the same. Motion passed, all in the affirmative. 7:02.
That's Marcia.
Good, how about yourself?
Really good, thank you.
Can I have a motion to
I'll
go
make the
back
motion.
into regular session? Moved by Councilwoman Hartke. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Weaver. Any further discussion? None being, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, both same. Let's move on to consent agenda.
No, we need to do follow-up from executive personnel.
We were gonna do that. It's already in our schedule on new business, right? No? Yes.
It's on number 15.
Okay, so I missed that.
Okay,
I apologize.
I should have explained better.
Okay. I'll just-
Yeah, no. Consent agenda. Can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll make the motion to approve the consent agenda.
Moved by Councilman Weaver. Can I have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Councilwoman Hartke that we approve the consent agenda. Any discussion? None being, all in favor say aye.
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 Aye, pose same. Motion passed on the affirmative.
Would you please mark that I abstained?
Oh, excuse me, I didn't hear that. Yeah,
Wasn't asked.
yeah, okay. I didn't hear you not vote. That's what I'm saying.
I wasn't here.
Okay, Councilman then abstained from approval of the minutes. Public hearing none. Ordinances, annexation of town property, airport.
Please, the council, I'll go ahead and read these instead
Please.
of the clerk, if that's okay.
Go ahead.
First one is ordinance number 23-02, ordinance to annex a tract of land to the town of Shoshoni. Now therefore be it ordained by the governing body of the town of Shoshoni, Fremont County, Wyoming. Exhibit A, which is attached hereto and incorporated herein by this reference, legally described as legally described. Section 2 is the town council of the town of Shoshoni find and resolve as follows. Annexation of the areas for the protection of the health, safety, and welfare of persons residing and working in the area and in the town. The urban development of the area sought to be annexed would constitute a natural, geographical, economical, and social part of the town of Shoshoni. The area sought to be annexed is a logical and feasible addition to the town of Shoshoni, and the extension of basic and other services customarily available to the residents of the town can reasonably be furnished to the area proposed to be annexed. The area sought to be annexed is contiguous with or adjacent to the town of Shoshoni. The town of Shoshoni is prepared to designate a utility to serve the annexed area pursuant to Wyoming statute 15-1-410 and to authorize a designated utility to serve the entire annexed area. Contiguity, geez, I can't say that word very well, will be adversely affected by the existence of a platted street or alley, will not be, sorry, a public or private right of way, a public or private transportation right of way, a lake, stream, reservoir, or other natural or artificial waterway located between the annexing town and the land sought to be annexed. Pursuant to Wyoming statute 15-1-407, the description of properties contained in this ordinance are solely owned by the town of Shoshoni and are not subject to prior notice or public hearing. All the territory described in section 1 of this ordinance is hereby annexed by the town of Shoshoni. This ordinance shall take effect from and after its passage, approval, and publication as required by law and the ordinance of the town of Shoshone. Exhibit A would be the airport, as well as the 6 acres on the southeast corner of the airport property.
Can I have a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion.
Been moved by Councilman Weaver. Can I have a second?
Second.
And second by Councilman Zant. Discussion. If no discussion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, the same. I'll repeat, do we want a discussion?
Tell me about the 6 acres. That is, I see it on the map marked right next to highway. Is this correct looking map right here, this section?
Yep.
So who owns that? And
We do.
We do.
okay, that's telling me about it.
Yeah.
Keep on going.
Okay, so yeah, we own that property and that would be in the future, an access point to the airport land from either the highway or up California in the future. If that's what, so it'd be. Why it was split out from that original tract of land, I don't know, but it's 2 pieces of it.
Okay, so
The large tract is about 317 acres. And then that small little piece is 6.
Any further discussion? Again, I believe I had a motion, but not a second. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Demick. Any further discussion before I call for the vote? None being, all in favor of the annexation as presented, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same. Motion passed, only affirmative. 23-03 annexation request by Jake Z. Stetler.
I did receive a request from Jake Stetler after the last meeting for the annexation of the northerly 200 feet of the easterly 100 feet of his property located south of 789. Upon his request, according to statute 15-1-403, I was required to give a report regarding the annexation of property and the drawn map that was provided. Since it is a request from another party to annex property, the determination was the annexation of property will provide for basic services offered to all residents of Shoshoni, to include police coverage as well as public works services, including water utilities. No annual fee for services will be assessed, although there is an 8 mil levy by the town of Shoshoni, which is assessed on town of Shoshoni property, will be assessed on property within the Shoshoni corporate boundary. The town of Shoshoni is the adjacent landowner and not impacted. And I further certify that no public utility is affected by annexation or will be required to make improvements. Ordinance 23-01. Ordinance to annex and zone a tract of land to the town of Shoshoni. Now therefore be it ordained by the governing body of the town of Shoshoni, Fremont County, Wyoming. Exhibit A, attached hereto and incorporated herein by this reference, legally described as northerly 200 feet of the easterly 100 feet of Township 38 North, Range 94 West, Section 28 Southwest Quarter, WD deed 2021-1427326. Section 2, the town council, of the town of Shoshone find and resolve as follows. Annexation of the areas for the protection of the health, safety, and welfare of persons residing and working in the area and in the town. The urban development of the area sought to be annexed would constitute a natural, geographical, economical, and social part of the town of Shoshone. The area sought to be annexed is a logical and feasible addition to the town of Shoshone, and the extension of basic and other services customarily available to residents to the town can reasonably be furnished to the area proposed to be annexed. The area sought to be annexed is contiguous with or adjacent to the town of Shoshone. The town of Shoshone is prepared to designate a utility to serve the annexed area pursuant to Wyoming statute 151410 and to authorize a designated utility to serve the entire annexed area. Contiguity will not adversely be affected by the existence of a platted street or alley, a public or private right of way, a public or private transportation right of way, a lake, stream, reservoir, or other natural or artificial waterway located between the annexing town and the land sought to be annexed. Section 3, the town clerk has issued the required certification pursuant to Wyoming statute section 151403, and a public hearing on the issue of zoning and annexing was held. This will be held after the required notice was given, which was today, the 8th day of November 2022, pursuant to Wyoming statute 151405. Section 4, it being determined that the proposed zoning as agricultural will promote the public health, safety, and general welfare. However, the lawful use of land existing at the time of the adoption of this ordinance, although such use does not conform to provisions thereof, may be continued. But if such non-conforming use is discontinued for a period of 1 year, any future use of said land shall be in conformity with the provisions of this ordinance. All territory described in section 1 of this ordinance is hereby annexed by the town of Shoshone. This ordinance shall take effect from and after its passage, approval, and publication is required by law and the ordinance of the town of Shoshone, and this would be the first reading.
Can I have a motion to approve 23-03 annexation request by Jake Stadler?
I'll make the motion.
Been moved by Councilman Weaver. Can I have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Councilwoman Harkey. Discussion. Any discussion?
And on the map that was provided, that red outline on the highlighted area is the area that would be annexed. A red square.
Okay. So Jake, is that where you're putting your house? Or-
Yeah, that's why I showed up in case you guys had any question. That's there's already a foundation there and we've already started building that thing.
Okay, so that's basically where your school bus is and
Yeah, well,
And the
no, the
camp-
school bus is on the 700 West First Street. That's just to the south of it.
okay,
And so that's where because we're just north of the foundation, because that's not in city limits, but,
okay,
and that would add one more home to the town. And that's basically what it is. I mean, we got reason for the request of the agriculturists, because with rabbits and goats and stuff, last year, we may or may not have had baby goats in our house to save their lives or whatever for a day or two, things like that. I'd hate to, that'd be the reason for the request on that.
then there's this, on the map, there's that one little square just south of the highway, that's all,
That,
is that yours or is it?
that's why it's highlighted. It's
Yeah.
that, it's
That's
that
a,
chain link.
Okay,
a shop down there.
that shop, okay,
Yes, sir.
that's what I was wondering, okay.
Any other questions on that?
And you're living there now?
We're living at 700 West First Street in the bus. Yes.
Okay,
We are not living there as determined by Fremont County Sheriff's Department. On the land that you guys annexed and that we purchased from you is where I got the bus park where I live.
okay.
Any more questions? None being, all in favor, say aye for the annexation 23-03. say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Pose the same. Motion passed all in the affirmative. As first reading been approved.
Yes, yeah. 20, town-owned property just have to have a one reading. This one has to go through full three readings.
Permits, alcohol consumption permit, Lisa Hendrickson.
So two requests for alcohol consumption were received from Letha Hendrickson. One being on the 18th of November at the Shoshoni Recreation District for a adult board paint class from the hours of 6:30 till 8 p.m. Serving malt and wine cooler beverages. And the second request is also at the Shoshoni Rec building on the 15th of December. And that would be for the board staff Christmas dinner for the school district. And that'd be from 6 p.m. till 9 p.m.
That says 12/5.
December 5th. Did I not say December 5th?
You said the 15th.
December 5th, 2020.
Can I have a motion to approve both alcohol consumption permits for Lisa Hendrickson?
I'll make the motion.
Been moved by Councilwoman Harkey, second. Second by Councilman Weaver. Any further discussion? None being, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Both same. Motion passed, all in the affirmative. Business license, Wyco Field Services.
This is a business license for the previously approved building permit for the alterations to the cell phone tower from T-Mobile on the south end of town. And this is for the company to do the actual install. Business license.
Can I have a motion to approve the business license?
Make the motion.
Can I have a second?
I'll second it.
Moved by Councilman Weaver, second by Councilwoman Harkey to approve the business license for Wyco Field Service. Any further discussion? None being, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, the same. Motion passed, all in the affirmative. We don't have no appearances scheduled by citizens. Anybody got anything? None being, unfinished business. Council vacancy. Mike, would you like to add anything to what you've said already?
Any questions from the group?
Questions?
I would like to have Marshall explain his paper here for the audience. And I've read it a couple times.
Say what?
Would you explain the paper that you gave us
Yeah.
for the audience hears it and the public hears it?
Yep. So this was brought up. We do have an ordinance 2020 on how to deal with vacancies, what constitutes vacancies as well. We need statute 15-107, which governs vacancies in the council. And it also refers to Wyoming statute 22-23-103. So vacancy exists if the council votes and decides that there's a vacancy. One of the reasons for a vacancy would be if the residency requirement is not met by one of the council members. And the only time that a council member can live outside or reside outside of the jurisdiction or the ward or whatever you want to, the political boundary, is if when they were voted in, the political boundary moves, not the council Anyways, so I gave some rules here as to what the Wyoming Supreme Court and statutes have stated regarding residency. This is not a new issue. This has come up before in the past. Big Supreme Court regarding this case was in 1973. Still good law and it hasn't changed. So back then the rule was, and it's changed a little bit as far as the statute, but residence is the place of the person's customary habitation. Is one of the rules. Residence is the place where the person has a fixed habitation to which, whenever he is present, has the intention of returning. And then I go on to the current rule, which is, or definition under Wyoming statute 22-1102 XXX. Residence, since that statute has been updated. Person's actual habitation definition. Again, residence is a place where a person has a current habitation to which, whenever he's absent, has the intention of returning. Person shall not gain or lose a residence merely by reason of his presence or absence while one, employed in the service of the United States or the state, or a student at an institution of learning, or kept at a hospital or other institution, or stationed at or residing on a military reservation, where the transient camp maintained for relief purposes by the government of the United States in this state. No person shall be excluded as a voter solely because of his residence on a federal enclave within the state. This factor shall be considered within all others in determination of the person's residence within the state for voting purposes. C, a person shall not lose his residence by leaving his home to go to another state, another district of this state, or to another country for temporary purpose, or to another country for temporary purposes with the intent of returning if he has not registered in another state, district, or country. Person shall not gain residence in a county if he enters it without the intent of making it his current actual residence. E, if a person removes to another state with the intent of making it his residence, he loses residence with Wyoming, except that in a general election year. His registration is valid in Wyoming when he leaves the state. That's basically goes on. That's for state purposes for voting. Now, if the person who takes up or continues his vote at a place other than where his family resides shall be a resident in the place where he actually resides. G, a candidate seeking the election of the office of the United States, and I don't think that applies here for presidency as a senator. Anyways, so those definitions were provided for elections. Now, I know this is an election, but it's pertinent because 15.1107 regarding vacancies cites to the election code 22-23103. 22-23103 uses those definitions. All right. But since 1973, this whole thing residency's come up in a whole lot of other cases, and one of them that I cited here, even though it's not an election case, it still went to the Wyoming Supreme Court, and they laid out a couple more rules that kind of bear weight on determining this. And one that needs to consider residency along with the actual statute, because statute has priority. Person has the intent to remain in the home, resident or home abode is where the person has intent to remain in the home for a long period of time, and that intent is manifested by ongoing physical presence within the jurisdiction other than merely transitory. And the other part of that is there can only be one residence. And then I talked about 2020. So anyways, and then goes on to talk about notification that has happened. Notification had to happen by certified mail to council member that where this vacancy may exist, so he can make his argument as to why the vacancy shouldn't exist if he wants to. And 2 weeks have to happen from the time it was first brought up. I think we've now, from the first time it was brought up, that vacancy might exist for now. And it will take a majority of the vote of council to determine if the vacancy exists. I also brought up that there had been concerns from citizens before stated why even go on the issue, why not just leave it be, and put out that, you know, just even the fact that it was brought up to the council or even brought up, if the council doesn't take it up, it brings the council at risk of being in violation of their oaths to do their duty. Violations not to vote or decide on this issue can possibly result in claims of malfeasance, which is in violation of Wyoming Constitution and state statutes, both civilly and criminally. And I did bring that up because I know anybody here likes it or not, but there are certain county members that do watch what happens here in Shoshoni on a regular basis. So. All right. And there was also questions regarding ethics. So, I talked about ethics and when someone has to refrain from voting or not. So anyway, specifically, Wyoming Statute 916-106 determines when an elected official must refrain from voting. Essentially, it is where a public official cannot vote on any matter in which they are to receive money or direct financial benefit. And by direct financial benefit, can't be something where one is speculating whether there's a possible gain, like an increase in property values, a decrease in property values, better neighbors, worse neighbors, better drinking water, worse drinking water, etc. So it can't be based on speculation. It has to be something where there's obviously direct gain, i.e. contracts, sales, etc.
Any other questions for Mike?
So you've maintained your residency here.
I have. I voted today and they asked me probably the same thing they asked you, to show your driver's license, and they asked for your address. And I gave them the same address that I've been at for 8 years, 415 West 3rd Street. That's what I used to vote on today. I think as Marshall read through some of these things, my living situation, my family situation is complicated, that this isn't all encompassing. So for example, where does my family reside? My family resides in Utah. My family resides in Wyoming. My family resides at Muskrat Road. My family resides at 415 West 3rd Street. Family meaning we have several children, and the children reside in multiple locations. So which one do I get to claim? Yeah, this was interesting to me because I hadn't realized it. So I'd received a notification from my insurance in Wyoming for one of my vehicles from my Utah address, 1228 Beecher Avenue, Brigham City, Utah. I have a dwelling there. It'll claim it. Don't know how that has come to be. But I have a dwelling in Island Park, Idaho. Don't claim it, but I have that there. So like I said, as we look through these things, where do I reside? Where do I abode? This past week, I aboded in Gillette. Doesn't mean I'm a resident of Gillette, but that's where I got to abode because that's where I was. In the summer times, we will abode in Utah, different times depending on what the kids are doing. My wife abodes currently at 2 Yellow Brick Road. My in-laws abode currently at 415 West 3rd Street. I have the privilege to float. Like I said, that's what makes it more complicated. I have an abode at 21 Showbond Road. on the list goes. I have a boat on another one on Maple Street that is a single wide trailer. I have a single wide trailer run 111 West or 111 Wyoming Street. On and on it goes. But at the end of the day, I voted today. They asked me my address and I told them 415 West 3rd Street. And they said, here you go. And they gave me the stamp to vote. Driver's license hasn't changed. Passport hasn't changed. Checks haven't changed. On and on it goes. Like I said, my activities, people say they see me drive from different places. If they saw how many hours I spent on this side of the town versus on the other side of the town, they'd be probably disappointed that I spend so much time out there. It's just part of what it is that I do. Like I said, so I've read through this. My goal has not been to turn this into a fight. It's not been to waste the town's time. My goal has been to do what it takes to remain on the council. Why? Because I enjoy what it is that I do. I enjoy the team that we've created. I enjoy seeing the progress that we've made. It would have been easier to just say, forget it and not worry about it. But I felt it was worth the fight. It was worth the clarification because it's not just black and white. It's not just you have two kids and this is what these two kids do, or these two kids over here do, or this baby does over here, or these in-laws here. I feel like it's interesting to me that the people in our audience, unless that's who several is, the people that are accusing me of these things, I don't know that they're here. I find that interesting to me. If it was such a big deal, they should have asked me or they should have showed up for the tar and feather. But I feel like it's been an unnecessary witch hunt that's done more damage to our council and our group than it's hoped to have. But that's where I've come from. It's not black and white.
So if I was to ask you where you live, what's your home, what would your answer be?
My Peterbilt,
Pardon?
my Peterbilt.
No, you're allowed to have one home,
That's what
not two. What would be your home?
that would honestly be, and I know it sounds almost like a smart aleck comment, but honestly, that is where I spend more time than any place else in this world is in my Peterbilt truck. The next thing would go down, I can go down the list. I can say, based on what is in present knowledge, it's 415 West 3rd Street.
Following the definition that you heard the marshal present, you would say, what what's the address again?
415 West 3rd Street.
415 West 3rd, that is your home, or what you'd consider home. If you're going home at night, that's where you're going home there.
All the time.
Just being clear.
It's not where I go all the time, no. And that's not a question, no. But I can say that I moved that trailer here. I can say that I built that property from next to nothing. I built the garage that it's on. And
No, you done it. It's a nice property. You done well.
So
You've done
do I-
very, very well on the council. I'm just required by law to ask these questions and do what I'm doing.
so I do call home. I call the Peterbilt home, and I call Brigham City home, and I call Island Park home, all for different reasons. You know, I call Island Park home because that's the place that me and my dad built. Does that matter?
Very
It
good.
does to me.
Any other questions for Councilman Demick?
I would, Marshall. How do you determine malfeasance?
Boy. Malfeasance would be one where you are, where you are purposely not doing your job. That would be a good example of malfeasance, where you're purposely skirting your position.
So when I agree with Mike and saying your house is at this place,
That,
So-
if you're, if you decide to vote,
okay,
what I'm trying to, that is your job, you're doing your job.
okay. So if I don't
That-
vote,
that's-
that's malfeasance.
If you decide, hey, I'm not gonna do this, I'm not gonna vote, that's where you start getting into trouble.
Okay, that's what I needed to clarify. Thank
Yeah,
you.
Yeah, I just don't, I mean, I don't want you guys to give your vote until you're ready to give your vote, but yeah, that's why I was talking about on malfeasance. It's not saying that you have to say one way or the other, but you do have to do your job as council members to make the tough decisions one way or the other. That's the job. So, does
That's
that
my
answer that
question.
question?
You answered it because it was one of those words that out here floating in the air.
Yeah.
Mike, so you're, with all these different entities, houses and kids situation and everything, but you are saying your residency is right here in town.
It is. Fortunately, that residency has an air mattress. It's not as comfortable as other residencies, but that's what it has. So there again, I find it, I think there's a certain challenge that I have with it because everybody, we're only asking this of one council member. And I feel like that's what's hard to say, what's really sparked it. If you were living in Arizona for a time and somebody wants to say, well, I hear Bo Weaver's been in Arizona. Well, obviously he's changed his residency. Does that put you in the same hot seat? Or do you get to come back and say, it's none of your business? This is my vote, this is my legal voting address. This is my PO box, leave me alone. And because I kind of feel that's what's happened. If Bob goes out of town to see his kids in Sheridan, he's gone for a time, and somebody makes an assumption, do we have to go through this every single time? I mean, if Tammy works in Riverton for too many hours in the day, does that mean her abode is at her job site? And like I said, I feel like some circumstances are much easier black and white. And I get it, mine's a gray. And so some things would be easier. But like I said, I feel like at the end of the day, it would be different if I didn't own the property that I claim as residency. It would be different if I didn't build it. It would be different if I didn't have vehicles there. It would be different if I had tenants living in there instead of my in-laws living in there. I feel like these are all things that would create much more of a cut and dry.
Well, I think we could expand that, Jake's up for, I'll use Jake Stetler example. He's up for election. And we just annexed his property in. So we can say, was he a legal resident of Shoshoni at the election?
Yes, that was determined by Fremont County Sheriff's as I was dragged into an interrogation room. Yes, that was.
Jake, could you please come and speak where everybody can hear you, please? Thank you.
I apologize. Yeah, Jake Stetler. Yes, that was determined by the investigator at Fremont County Sheriff's Department that in fact I do reside in city limits because I'm there every night. If you want to find me at night, where are you going to go? You're going to go to the ORP. So they did determine, in fact, yes, I do live in city limits.
That's
Just
good to hear.
clarify.
Because people will bring that up and say, well,
Yes,
we just annexed this property, but he was not in his town limits.
but I'm not living there. There's no home there. There's nowhere to live there.
But you told me you live at 700 West
First Street. Yes, that's where I live. Yes, I'm there every night.
Yeah,
That's not where he's building a new home.
And that you guys annexed that last spring.
that's right.
Yes, that's where I live.
So those things need to be clarified
Yes.
for the public.
Yeah. Oh, I see where you're
Yeah.
going. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but I'm a little touchy about that. That was my one and only time ever being in an interrogation room. I was over where I lived, and fortunately, I had aerial photos from my boss who took it. Because it was a pretty big project for us. And I also had copies of the deed from going back and forth to the YDOT, and I had all the evidence right there of exactly where I'm living. So Fremont
Yeah.
County investigated me. I do live in city limits by law. I'm there every night. You
Would you
can
like
see me
to
there
first
every
say?
day.
Thank you.
Jake, excuse me, just
Yes, sir.
a little clarification. You had someone complain that you were living outside the city limits.
That's what I was told, yes.
And
I
the
didn't know
sheriff's department,
I thought you knew I thought everybody knew this. I apologize. That's
No.
okay. So there was a complaint against me for election fraud of living out of town.
Okay.
And
know
so when I got to go see what the inside interrogation room looks like. And they treated me good, you know, really. It's funny when I'll just stop right there. But
Okay.
anyways,
Well, thank you for that answer.
so
That's
yeah,
clarification.
so I pulled out here and I said, you know, stop by any day.
Well,
And you guys do anything you want. Fortunately, this is not my issue. But the way my definition is, if I'm gonna come find you after you have dinner, I'm gonna go to your home. Where is that? You know where I'm gonna be. I'm gonna be in that bus at 700 West First Street. That's where I'm gonna be.
But if you drive your bus on vacation, does that mean you change your residency?
I did put diesel fuel treatment in it, but I'm not so sure if it's gonna start until spring. I don't know. I mean, it's hooked up to a water power, the whole works there.
Good.
Getting a propane tank hopefully moved in this month or this month. It's all working well. But anyways, that was determined. They take it pretty seriously when the higher ups get called in on this. I'm letting you know. It ain't a joke and it ain't fun. And they got it squared away where I do just do the photographic evidence, different legal documents.
Thank you for your answer.
Did you have any type of interrogation, Mike?
No. That's it. That's an issue that's very interesting to me. Just the contrast of if it was a national crisis, I might have had something very similar to what happened to him.
If I didn't follow what I did, I would be in trouble. It was my state statute. It was brought up to me. I had to bring it forward to the council, had to bring it forward to you. I talked to you about it before I ever brought it to the council. We had a discussion. And I also talked to Bob about it. I talked to every councilman.
You called me, yes.
Yep, I talked to every councilman about it. Yeah, but that's what that I'm required to do in my position. It's no winch hunt, not picking on anything. It's just what I was required to do.
I'm just wondering, because yes, you did what you had to do. I agree 100%. Why after all of this, how come they didn't do an interrogation?
It hasn't went that far. This was brought, this is municipal level. This is not county election level or county level.
There's also a difference in the state statute. So if it's within 6 months of an election, the county clerk is the one that determines residency, and as well as the town clerk. They decided that because of the town clerk, or whatever, the county clerk decided they were gonna run the reins on it and got the sheriff's department involved. It's out, this is not an election for him, it's past 6 months, so it's up to the county council and the town council to determine if the vacancy exists.
No, that makes sense.
So if there's no other question or statement, I'd like to call for the question.
Do I get to vote?
No.
I don't gain anything from it. It doesn't change my water.
Can I have a motion declaring that we have a vacancy? Am I wording that right, Council? Vacancy in the city council because Councilman Dimick no longer lives within the boundaries of the town of Shoshoni. Can I get a motion?
I move that the town governing body votes on the residency of Councilman Demick.
Can I get a second?
I'll second it.
Been moved by Councilman Zant, second by Councilman Hartke. That that there is a vacancy.
Excuse me, I did not say vacancy.
What'd you say?
I said residency.
Residency, a residency.
I said residency of Councilman Demick.
Word that again. It's a residency of Councilman Demick.
That is correct. That's all I said.
So the question is that he's not a resident or is a resident? That wasn't the question I was asked for, what we're supposed to ask for by the verbiage, I don't think.
You have to vote whether or not you believe there's a vacancy.
Okay,
Okay,
then I withdraw my motion.
Me too.
And I move that the council votes on a vacancy of Councilman Demick. Or that there is a vacancy on the governing body. The governing body.
okay, been moved. Been moved that we vote on if there's a vacancy. We using the right word, we good?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
the vacancy in the council. Because Councilman Demick does not live within the boundaries of the town anymore. It's been second.
We do
Then
not,
isn't our
He's
my
just,
wor-
just voting on whether or not you believe there's a vacancy.
okay,
yeah,
okay,
You know the reason why we've had. the
okay,
discussion,
I'm
so-
just want to not make sure I'm not missing anything. 'Cause
Yeah.
I'm not reading it there. Okay, motion's been. If there was a vacancy, remove that there is a vacancy in the town council. Because just stop right there.
Yeah.
Okay,
Fine.
and it's been, do I have a second?
Second it.
Been seconded by Councilman Hardkey. Discussion? None being all in favor of, there's a vacancy on the council. Say aye. Aye. Opposed the same,
I,
3-1. There's no declared vacancy on the council. That was pretty simple. Director of Public Works. Can I have that motion now, Bob?
I move we appoint Michael Quiver as Director of Public Works and hire him.
Can I have a second?
I'll second it.
And second, moved by Councilman Zant, second by Councilman Hartby, that we hire Michael Quiver as Director of Public Works. Any further discussion?
On the, as part of the application process, his salary is already,
We have a salary,
have a
we have a
salary
salary range.
is that discussed with him already, or is that what comes next?
It'd be similar to, should be similar to, the mayor can negotiate within the confines of what that is.
It's not been set yet.
Yes, it has.
Hasn't been set.
Yeah, we have a salary range.
No,
That's,
I
no,
mean-
he was asking that, what you're gonna. follow.
For my.
Oh, no,
Yeah,
no, we have a salary range that I'll be negotiating with him within that range.
So we're just saying hire, and then the details, you take care of the details,
Yeah,
As far as-
it,
things that were discussed,
Right.
housing or salary or
right.
company vehicles or whatever.
If anything that runs out of budget or something, I would need to come to the council.
How long did he get, did he give you a time frame if he got this position when he would move here?
We had some initial discussion. We're gonna meet again once I can make a firm job offer.
But there's been nothing really where he's saying, yeah, I could be there a month, 6 months or.
Well, we thought if there's suitable housing, we felt that he should be here and sooner than no longer than 6 months. And we'd like to see it sooner, but suitable housing is the issue.
So it could be longer than 6 months too. Then.
Well, if it gets longer, then we can have that discussion. That is what we're, if we don't have a house for him to live in, that can be a problem.
Is it a deal breaker?
Pardon?
Say, is it a deal? I don't want to turn this into an argument. Don't get me wrong on that. As far as if someone who decides what suitable is, or the question also comes, would we be looking at doing? I know that the town has had some housing. I think Chris had mentioned it before about the town being someone involved in providing rent assistance or something like that. As far as
We hadn't talked rent assistant, but the housing, we used to have a townhouse. We provided for that. And, those are options we could look at down in the future. Let's just see what works out. He currently lives in Riverton.
Riverton or East City.
He lives in Riverton.
It says on Plunkett, yeah, it says on Plunkett Road.
It's not irreparable.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you told me you had a.
Plunkett Road's like 15
Okay.
miles outside of
Sure.
Riverton.
I guess one of my concerns is like a few years back when we had those breakages during the winter, lost our water.
When does he want to start?
We're tentatively 2 to 3 weeks. That's what I mean, but these are something we still need to work out. I haven't had the authority to really,
Sure.
and we gotta move forward. We've had some initial beat around, talk about scenarios, but
It would be the challenge as far as, like I said, it's not an argument, but it's deciding. So let's suppose 6 months comes and go. Is there a clause in there that says, if there's what we deem suitable housing, there's a double wide for rent down the street that would fit your family. If someone says, well, that's not suitable because I don't live in trailers, do we say, well, there might not be a stick-built home here for X amount of time? So I think kind of what Bo's saying, it's the same thing. Does there need to be a line when we say, if this isn't good enough, we'll need to try and find another position or another person to fill the position? Because I think he's right as far as having that person in town would be important, kind of like having a police
I
officer.
agree.
But if it needs to be stated on the, we expect 6 to 9 months here, and if not, then that's okay. We'll advertise the position, or like I said, I don't know if it's other than it would be nice to create that urgency, like maybe somebody wants to sell a home, maybe someone wants to build a home, to do something to say, we really want this guy to stay in this town, and how can we help? But like I said, I don't.
I could say that, for example, when I went to work for the sheriff's office years ago, I was a probationary employee and I had 1 year to live and reside within the county. I was currently living in Laramie County. I had to live in Albany County. I had 1 year to move, or else my position was no longer offered.
Well, that's interesting.
I don't know. I mean, that's just kind of what you're talking about, but as a probationary employee, there's no strings attached. You know that as a deputy sheriff, I had protection. I couldn't just be fired when I was on that probationary period. Now those strings attached during that time frame.
We do that. I mean, would it be wise to do that? But
I
the goal
guess.
is not to scare off. I mean, like I said, I realize good people are hard to find. And his application is very promising. But like I said, it would be important for we're committing to him. If he understands, he needs to commit to the town as well.
Well, I believe, well, I know he does, because I told him, you gotta live here if you're gonna work here. But we gotta have some house, something for him to move into.
I like what, like, does it need to have a time frame just written into it, so we're not 6 months from not next year saying, these things have come and gone, but we're awfully picky or. I like the term probationary because it really doesn't mean anything, but at the same time, it does mean something. I feel like it gives the town some protection as far as we would like our expectations to be met, just like he'd like his paycheck. But maybe verbal is sufficient.
What do you got, Bob? Anything on it?
I think we allow the mayor to discuss the probationary period and say, all employees are probationary at the beginning of their indenturement. You want to use that word? That's for you.
I get, I kind of felt that was for me. I get it. My little jab right there. Okay.
Yeah, so, I think we should allow the mayor to have, as a discussion, so, as probationary, this is one thing we want you to do, and we will do a follow-up in 3 months and 6 months and say, where are you progressing?
I'm sure there's things in the meantime we can do, hopefully, as things go as the town to provide or help or assist in some regard as we go down. I know we talked about it briefly, but I'm sure we can come up with something.
But otherwise, I'm glad that Nick said from the input that was given, I think sounds like a great hire. Sounds like someone with a lot of experience, someone that's going to help train our other people that are new to the industry. It's almost like a double bonus. We're getting with someone who is qualified and a trainer at the same time.
Where were we?
Motion
We're
ready to vote.
That was the discussion.
That was discussion, right? So all in favor, say aye. Aye, opposed, same.
No, I oppose.
Motion passed 4-1. Councilman Weaver voted against. Central Bank and Trust signature card.
So I would be looking for a specific motion to remove me and Bo Weaver from the Central Bank and Trust signature card and add Kim Riley and Tammy Hardkey to the Central Bank and Trust signature card for the town of Shoshone.
Kind of a motion in that effect.
I'll make the motion.
Been moved by Councilman Demick. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Zant, that we, as stated on our signature card. Any further discussion? Then being all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same. Motion passed. Police report.
Just to follow up from a previous police report on the status of the four-wheelers, motorcycles, and just some other activities in the evening. So following that conversation, we've had some reports of minors driving their four-wheelers, motorcycles on the streets. However, the majority of those reports were that they were doing exactly as I had asked, requested, that they drive appropriately, decently, going from point A to the county to go have their fun. There's still been a couple kids that don't quite get that concept. And they are being dealt with in a different manner. I just wanted to give some accolades to the kids that have done exactly as requested and followed what was stated previously. We also had with school back in, I don't know what is between summer and the first part of school in the winter, but lighting fires around town in various spots. They were contacted and their parents were notified. So hopefully that will stop. But I do definitely appreciate the input and the comments from citizens about things that are going on and helping me to identify some of these issues. So it does take a community to be able to address all these issues. So I do appreciate that help from the community. Also, our final police block currently is being filled by 2 part-time. Steve has always been part-time, but he's filling that position, as I stated before. He's currently working now somewhere, so. But he is filling that hopefully until we can reapproach this when the labor market changes a little bit, hopefully sometime next year.
Who's the other one?
Cunningham, John, he's a sergeant with Planet Police Department.
Saw some, yeah, that's stuff.
Yeah, it was-
Didn't know if he was.
yeah, John Cunningham, he was a sergeant with, or he is a sergeant with the Minor Police Department.
He's here on the weekends.
Just Fridays. So he just comes up and fills that Friday position that was vacated when Andrew left. And then Steve fills the other 3 days during the week in the evenings. And then I fill the rest of the evenings.
What's the other gentleman's name?
Which one?
Highway Patrol,
Tony,
Tony.
he pull you over?
No, he does such a great job. Because of his highway experience, is amazing. I watched him do. You see him open up the doors and he's looking at guys at gooseneck trailer. No, he's looking at GBW stuff.
Oh, yeah, yeah, well, yeah. Yeah, he used to, if you notice when he was with Highway Patrol, he'd be parked right over there at the YDOT yard. He would flag in truckers as they came in. And so he's a great resource for those questions because I know very little about trucks and, you know, some of the laws, and he knows.
I just see, like I said, I just see him, saw him do it today. It's almost like it's unfortunate for the person that's just, the cops pulled me over. We think it's not just the cop, man.
This is a trooper.
It's like a person with a canine dog in your pack. I mean, it's like this added bonus, but it's just such a, you just look at it and they just look at you and say, I'm sorry, your driver's license doesn't cover you for this truck and that trailer behind you. Sorry, man.
And when he starts asking for the bill of ladings and stuff, they're like, well, this is not a small town cop, but what's going on here? So that's definitely he's very good at that. And like I say, you know, troopers are gonna troop. I mean, that's just what they do, no matter where they work. So I'll let him know that he was been observed to be very thorough.
He's very, you know, the other thing, he's not observed sitting a lot. I mean, as far as fairly active, as far as his lights are flashing versus I'm just that guy that sits here all day long and doesn't do anything. I mean, he's active in the mornings, he's active in the night times.
I'll let him know.
Mhm.
So I made it brief. So that's pretty much all I got. Anything, any questions for the chief?
Yeah, I have a couple.
Oh,
Has any citations been written? This was off the top of your head for compression brakes.
yes. I've written 10 myself.
I mean, I still hear them all the time.
I know. And I actually, the mayor just said that before everyone got here, there was a trucker that pretty much from the time it hit town limits at the railroad tracks to here,
Yeah.
we heard it rattle the windows and. I'll be right back. So I've written 10 myself. We have pulled more in the daytime. We're trying to be a little bit more educational in the daytime when it's not obstructing people's sleeping. And we stop them, let them know and request and most of them, but in the evening times, they do get citations when they're stopped because it's very, very frustrating. And just like the speeders, it doesn't matter how many we stop and cite, pull over, warn, they still speed. So I'm trying. But yes, they are cited when we catch them.
Any progress on the dogs?
Yes. So we did take one to pause. And there's been a couple notifications for barking. And as far as I can tell, that specific individual has addressed the barking problem. But they're one of many. So when I say progress, it's hit and miss. But it's slowly being, hopefully people are coming around. But we've had an uptick in dogs on March recently. I think I was chasing one yesterday, 2 days ago. So, but
That's all I have.
is it a couple?
2.
Fair enough.
Pressure breaks and dogs. That's
Yeah,
couple.
literally a couple.
Any other questions? None being, let's go to the round table. Mike, do you have anything for us?
No, an update on the fire department. So we had a elections yesterday. We opted not to change our captain, or sorry, our chief and assistant chief remain the same. Our training captain is probably going to transition out. But one of the things that we had talked about doing was part of our trainings. So we do monthly trainings. Sometimes it can be anything from auto extrication to building walkthroughs. Typically, we try and do 2 or 3 a season, especially if we get new recruits. This is only just for informational purposes, but we will do the mushroom farm probably this month. Like I said, it's just something that we as a department go through. We meet with either managers or owners that they can familiarize us with things like where their shutoffs, where whatever it is they might have. We do it with the school. So we learn things like where elevator keys. If you don't know that story, it's because there was kids stuck in the elevator. There was no keys, and the fire department tried to open the doors. It was very expensive. And so we strive to learn some of these things. But like I said, it's not that's just what the fire department is doing. That's all I have.
Bob, do you have anything?
No.
Bo, anything?
I haven't heard anything lately on the missing kitty cats in town. But I did want to let people know that I am seeing a lot of coyotes. I saw 3 on the way to this meeting tonight that were heading right into town. So just letting people know, watch the cats because the coyotes are hungry.
Send them down to the yard. We got a little cat problem. We had a skunk issue for a short minute. And they decided to move someplace else, but I've got foxes that live there as well. Regular old zoo.
Anything else?
No, that's all I got.
Tammy?
Yeah, I got nothing.
I just want to talk a little bit about the Shoshoni football team. Going down the state, Laramie, Saturday, 1 p.m. game. Like to see a lot of people down there from Shoshoni at that game again.
We had a lot last year.
We had a lot last year. I think Shoshoni has a good chance of winning this game. We played Pine Bluff's first game of the year. They beat us. Boy, Shoshoni was playing good against Winter. Good team and defense looked inspired.
Did we
Like-
put a thing on the sign for him?
I will today,
Yep.
tomorrow.
So the fire department, the police department could probably participate. Like they're doing a
Oh.
send off.
So Thursday at 2 o'clock, we're planning on having a send off involving the fire department. The police department will meet up about 15 minutes prior and then be warmed up and then we'll send them out.
General public can go as well if they want. Yeah, it's kind of like a little parade going out.
Yeah, if they want to get behind, then we'll get behind them and we'll be in front and then we'll guide them down California. And then of course, go the second and take them to the rest area. And then we'll go from there. So that'd be Thursday at 2. Is what I was told that the plan was on.
That's the department's fun. They were trying to decide yesterday whether Someone said it's between noon and 2.
Yeah, well, first they said, because there's the veterans breakfast on the 10th at the school, so I guess I'll be going to that, and any other veterans are welcome to attend if they weren't aware. At 8:00, 8:15, I believe, and then when that concludes, we thought we were gonna be leaving then, but then they changed it to 2, so.
But yeah, pretty exciting stuff, so. But I hope to see many people down there. That's all I really have. Can I have a motion to adjourn? If nobody, oh, excuse me, Bob.
We have a question on.
Oh, okay, please. I didn't see that.
Is it appropriate now?
Yes, please do. Come up.
Bob Streeter. Chris, this is kind of for you. I can't find my documentation when I lived over there on 111 Wyoming Street. I'm toying with the idea of setting that trailer back up again. Can I put hay bales around it for skirting?
I'll look specifically at the ordinance, what it allows, because it's very specific on what type of skirting you can have. I'm not sure.
And I can't remember.
And I don't want to tell
Believe
you wrong and say yes or no, but I will get back to you tomorrow if that's okay.
That'd be just great.
Okay,
Thank you. Or just at your convenience.
I'll go with you tomorrow. I'll look
Okay.
it up.
Thank you.
I just don't want to tell you yes or tell you no, then you're wrong.
What was the online question?
It's from Debbie. She had her hand raised. Debbie, did you have a question or do you need to speak? Your hand's still up. Debbie, you're unmuted. You wanted to have a question.
So this is Jody, Chris.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Jeff Leaf Green got a hold of me and asked if he could park the ambulance down at the ambulance barn.
Uh-huh.
I cannot give you permission to do that. I talked to the county, one of the county commissioners, and you have to go to the county commissioners to get permission.
Yeah, I talked with Mike Streeter last night on that too, so that's what he told me as well.
Okay, well, and I wasn't trying to ignore Jeff. I wasn't sure, and so I talked to Larry, and Larry said you guys will have to go to them to get a request to do that.
Sure, they'll love to see us.
Well, yeah, I wish I could give you the permission, but I actually don't. I just have permission to use the building, so.
Nope, I understand that. And I talked, like I said, I talked to Mike after the firemen's meeting last night. And he said that you're just an end user, with the county. So since they
Yeah.
own it, so nope, I totally get it. I didn't think you were, we're good.
Okay. Yeah, and they need to do some water repairs on that. The town shut the water off. I don't know when, but there's no water in there, so they'll have to fix the water if they want it.
At the ambulance barn?
Yes.
Okay.
So,
That sewer freezes up. It's really shallow through there.
Oh,
Yeah, so that's why it was shut off, because that sewer freezes up in the winter time.
well, I don't know if it was more the water, the drinking water, the city water itself. So just something you guys should be aware of, that it did break and we did have the water shut off. So if you guys are wanting water in there, you might remind them that they need to. And I did tell Larry that as well, that they need to get over there and fix that. And I think it's in the pipe that comes through the concrete, but I'm not 100% sure.
okay.
You might, like I said, you might relay that on to them just to update them as well. I told Larry, but that might get left out somehow or another. So,
All right. Well, thanks for letting me know. And
Mhm.
Mike knows as well. So we'll let him know and we'll see what happens.
all right,
Thanks, Jody.
you bet.
That was it. Now can I have a motion to adjourn?
Make the motion.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Weaver, second by Councilman Zeth, that we adjourn this meeting at 8:30. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, all the same. Meeting adjourned.
That's,
I got a thing from Leah DeLay just now. It says the water line broke at the end.
that's what, yeah, what Jody was saying too. I was unaware of that. Should explain why it was turned on. Here's the ordinance that you guys need to sign for the
Dinner or just back to work?
Oh, dash.
So you have a microwave in that truck?
No, I used to use that. Plug in a water boiler. It's like plugging the